Morning, Boxing Day. I'm coming from my bedroom because what's a bit prophetic, really. I mean, when we go for a performance, make sure my teeth are done, my hair, my makeup, but we might not. It says be ready in the Bible, but depends what ready is. It might not look ready on the outside, but it could be ready on the inside. So I'm just doing it in my pajamas in my bed. So I had a dream this morning. I'll just let you know, I don't know how long this will drag out for, but I'm learning a little bit about Jesus' word about that we'll dream dreams, have visions, and so forth. Well, with my dreams, I always find I wake up 2 or 3 times through the night, write little things. But a wee tip is to, you've woken with a dream. What I find is it comes up to my conscious mind only if I lay in that half-waking dream state. So I have to lay there and bring to remembrance the dream, and it will slowly come up to my conscious mind, enough for me to grab my books and write. If I wake and go, I've had a dream, grab my book and start to write, I get a little bit anxious because I feel I'm losing grasp of what it was. So a wee tip is to just lie, and I believe that, well, almost always, every morning I wake up, the Holy Spirit speaking to me about what I've just dreamt. And sometimes when I write, I get an extended interpretation or word on the dream. So this morning was like that. So you'll find that it starts as a dream, and then I just go haywire all over. It's just God. It's preaching, but it comes out of the dream. So I'm going to read it, probably be in 3 parts because I've already gone 2.5 minutes before I started. Okay. So in this dream, I'm walking around in a building. There's corridors, and I come across a reception. Now, it's a reception like ARA, it's a adult training institute for boys and girls in the trades. And the reason why it's there is that's where my husband works. It's managed by the people that my husband works with, which I've never met. But there's a lady at the reception, like she's a staff member. So this lady, I walk into this room, this reception, and this lady acts like she wants to help me. And she sits me down at a table in a room. And then there's 4 men walk in, maybe 4 or 5, and they're young males. They are lawyers. I've stumbled upon legal advice on my divorce. So they are supposed to represent me, but instead they sound like they are my husband's lawyers. So they say, well, one of them says, but they all nod, they're in agreement. This is what they say. So this is the important thing that I break down. Does the fact that you're getting a divorce for the 2nd time because of your spiritual differences bother you? I'll read it again. They say, does the fact that you're getting a divorce for the 2nd time because of spiritual differences bother you? Then they stood up and all walked out. I just stood there dumbfounded. Then I walked around looking for them. Now, it was like they were like school corridors. Now, I met a lady that I know called Diane, who is sort of, well, I would say a sleeping Christian. She says she's just waiting for Jesus to come back. She might get a sharp shock. And she has some adult boys. So she had her boys with her. And she said to me, my boys were wondering why you said you were going up the mountain for England. Now, if you've looked at any of my posts, you'll know that on May 23rd this year, God called me up the mountain. Now, I did leave my husband, but I had been trying to communicate with him for months during the year as God woke me up a couple of months prior to that. So I just tried to palm her off when she was challenging me about my reasons for going up the mountain. I just tried to palm her off. So I told her some story, and the story, as the dream unfolds, has a meaning. So I told her the story about some English football club that Marty would understand. Marty's, well, this is my ex-husband's name, I've said it now. So anyway, he's not my ex-husband, he's my husband at the moment. So he's into his football. So I said something to him to her that Marty would understand. But I knew that they would never understand this. It was then that I told her about the lawyers. As I told her, I thought of a comeback, what I could have said. It just came to me, and this is when I woke up, because I thought of a comeback line to what the lawyers had said to me in that room. And this is when I woke up and started lying there, and I actually heard this comeback word as I was awake. So when I was awake, I was still sensing that I was walking around trying to find them again. But then I realised that they were on to another client. And it was like some sort of serial advice session. So when no one was there, with their own appointment, and they were all just filed through quickly as like a speed dating evening. So that was my one opportunity to speak with them, and I was condemned by my own lawyers. What I wanted to say and what the Lord told me to say was this. I'll read their statement again. So their statement was, does the fact that you're getting a divorce for the second time because of your spiritual differences bother you? The Lord wanted me to say back was, that's the reason, not the symptom. Does the fact that I have been divorced twice mean that I will get divorced if I was married a third time? It's a question to them. I knew that they would most likely say, yes. I would say to them, did you know this fact, that both times I have been divorced, it has been that my husbands have divorced me. I do not believe in getting a divorce. Now, the English, what I went up the mountain for, it represents the religious spirit that I'm called to. That's why I'm called up the mountain. The religious spirits I'm called to fight. So I'm in a school where I'm supposed to get good advice. This is an interpretation. I'm supposed to get good teaching and support to be a disciple. It's like a church. The environment is biased towards the world's wisdom. They believe the stories told them by the guilty, not the innocent. They have no time for people, individuals. All they do is file them through, making reckless, ill-informed assumptions. And this is where the English, going up the mountains for the English, the religious spirits comes in. Because the Lord told me that they sit at round tables like the knights of the round table, making statements without the opportunity to let a person speak. The church tries to shut down the chosen. They twist the truth so it brings condemnation. So the key word that I went up the mountain for was English. So this, I see, represents the English legend of the Knights of the Round Table. This is why I went up the mountain without a real explanation to my husband, because I couldn't explain it to him, just like I couldn't explain it to Diane or her boys. The truth is, I'll watch that later. If you want to hear this, I'll finish soon. The truth is, I am not getting the divorces. My husband did that. That is a fact. The reason is, the true reason is, I do not have spiritual differences. I am the same as when I married them, on fire for God. It's my husbands who have spiritual differences. They are different as when I married them. They seemed on fire for God as brand new Christians. So when I gave that word, this is not the reason, but the symptom. The symptom is my husbands believe in divorce. That's the symptom. My husbands believe in divorce. The truth is, God hates divorce. So I hate divorce. Who is the true disciple? Why am I even in this school when I should be out in the world? The church is the school with the worldly environment. They are not out in the world where they should be, spreading the true gospel. They are listening to worldly people, attacking true disciples. When they go in, accosting them under false pretenses. I never intended on seeing lawyers. They make them think they are on their side. They're for them, not against them. So the church's story. The reason is the change in spiritual belief. The symptom or manifestation of this is my husband's asking for a divorce. So if you ask the church what the story was, how they've twisted it, they would say the reason is the change in spiritual belief. The symptom or manifestation of this is my husband's asking for divorce. This is subtle. Now, my story, what God has shown me, is that the reason is my unchanging spiritual beliefs. The symptom or manifestation of this is my asking them to not get a divorce. The fact is, they are aware, not ignorant. They willingly disobey God. This is my husband's. They do not fear God, and nor do they listen or obey his word and hear wisdom. They do not inquire of God or ask for a miracle to change their heart. The only difference between us, this is myself and my 2 ex-husbands, and saying that I am still married to my present husband, just saying that. I fear God. I listen to God. I obey God as best I can in his power, and I hear his wisdom. Now, they do not believe he can do miracles in our heart. He has given me the grace to forgive adultery, betrayal, and being disrespected and dishonoured. He has done miracles in my heart to love my husband, my present husband, with a renewed love, taking away all malice, bitterness, and unforgiveness that I had harboured in my heart, really, really deep down. He did that for me in the hut. I have a testimony to these men that they choose not to see. So few see. So many eyes and hearts are closed. When will your glory fall, Lord? It's really hard looking. The more I become like you, it gets harder to look. It puts a greater demand on love. Truth and love go hand in hand. I can't handle truth without love, or I will fall into judgment. But, church, remember, love is not love without truth. Your enemy will be in your own house. You will be hated. For my name's sake, Jesus said this. You may sit in a privileged position around like the knights of the Round Table of England, but you believe your own legend, that you are all equal in high standing with the King. I'm going to do a second part, and I'm going to challenge the church about this equal high standing with the King and what Jesus really said about that. Thanks.